What's up, guys? Today we're going to give you the Military Millionaire Guide to Blogging. And this is why you need to start blogging today. Yes, I believe that everybody should have their own blog. Now, over the last few months, I've helped several of my friends begin a blog. And as more and more people began asking me for advice on how to start a blog, I finally realized that I needed to create a guide to blogging that I could point them towards. My hope with this article is that it will explain to you why you should start blogging, how to launch your blog, and how to determine your end goals or monetization strategies if you decide that that's the route you want to go. So the first thing we're going to talk about is why you should start a blog. Now, there are a ton of different reasons for you to start a blog. We could talk about we could go on all day about the reasons that a blog is beneficial, but here are my top 3 reasons you should start a blog today. The first being writing's therapeutic. You may not believe this right now, but I promise you it is true. Hell, I failed English in high school. I absolutely hated writing, and yet I write almost every day now. And I think it's one of the best things that I've ever done. Writing is amazing for helping you get those ideas out of your head and put your mind to rest. You don't even have to show your blog to anybody, right? You can write and just leave it all private, right? Or whatever. You can go anonymous, whatever you want to do. You don't have to show your blog to anybody for this to be the case. It's still great. I know several people, in fact, who have a blog that's more of a journal and nobody's ever seen what they write except for them. Number 2 is fleshing out ideas. They say that if you want to master a subject, you should teach it to somebody else. So writing blog posts has the exact same effect. If you really want to understand a topic, write an article about it. I just did this on my self-directed IRA article for investing or whatever. I sat down, I read about 10 or 15 articles about self-directed IRA investing strategies. I studied the ins and outs of everything you would need to know for hours that day while writing out an outline and everything else. And I did this to decide how to incorporate all of this into my personal plan. Not only do I feel absolutely confident that I now know how to use a self-directed IRA, but I was also able to share all of this information in a formatted blog post with my audience in a way that made sense for them. So a lot of the articles that I was researching were super complex, and I would be willing to bet that most people wouldn't read them, at least not in our world, right? They were written more for smart people, not service members. Also, I think that blogging is good because it's a central hub. So probably the most important reason is that it will serve as a central hub for everything you do online. A blog is one place, the one place that you have complete control over your platform and what happens with your audience. So for example, if YouTube suddenly changed their algorithms and just obliterated your revenue, a blog would still be there. And that holds true for any social platform. You own the domain for your blog. So one of the main reasons that I use Teachable for my online courses instead of Udemy, which I have built a course on before, is that Teachable allows you to have access to your students' emails. You can maintain your audience and students even if you leave the platform, right? You can still email those people. A blog can receive traffic from Google, social media, your podcast advertisements, whatever, while simultaneously helping you build an email list or funneling traffic into future investors or students, right? So no matter what your future plans are, a blog is the most necessary piece of the puzzle, in my opinion, because everything can funnel into it and then you can point traffic to different places. Now, before you begin blogging, don't just jump into blogging without sitting down and determining what you want the platform to be. Don't get me wrong, you can jump into blogging without any idea what you're doing and just start writing, which is exactly what I did. But I recommend that you take some time to plan ahead. Trust me, the road to where I'm at right now was paved with a whole lot of wrong turns and bad decisions. I do everything the hard way. You don't have to do that, right? Just watch the rest of this and you'll be good. So I just grabbed the tiger by the tail at the beginning, and I enjoyed the ride. Now, this was extremely ineffective, and I just don't recommend it for you, right? So you need to determine your long-term goals for the platform. Spend some time figuring out what your goals are. Do you want to document what you're doing? Or do you want to use it as a landing page, people coming into your network? Or do you just want to use it to keep people updated about your life, right? Like, what is it that you want to do with this goal, with this blog? Maybe you have no goals, right, with it, and that's fine. It's good to try to figure out a 3 to 5 year vision for the blog before you begin writing. The next thing is figuring out who your avatar is, right, your target audience. Once you know the plan to write, what you plan to write about, and what you want the blog to look like, you need to determine your avatar. Avatar is just a fancy word that bloggers and marketers use to describe your target audience. For example, I know that my avatar with the Military Millionaire community is 75 to 85% males between the ages of 18 and 40, primarily 25 and 35, right? Military age males. And determining who your audience is will give you a great advantage for writing. For example, I would write an article, if I were to write an article for women over the age of 65, I would do it much differently than I do when I'm trying to resonate with a 19-year-old male Marine, right? So do yourself a favor and think this through before planning your content strategy. You want to make sure that you're talking to the right person, right? Even you can visualize that you're writing specifically for somebody that you know in that market, right? So determining your content strategy, right? So what is your content gonna look like? Are you gonna write for fun to document life? Are you gonna try to boost credibility in your space? Are you looking to create networking opportunities, educate people, monetize your blog somehow? Or is it just writing because it's therapeutic? So depending on what you determined your blogging goals were, you might have significantly different content, right? So make sure you figure all that out. If you're writing for fun, your blog will probably turn out to be free-spirited, and what you write about might be whatever comes to mind at the time. If, on the other hand, you decide to write content in order to educate people in your niche, you might have a very structured approach. You may release articles in a very structured sequence. This will take more planning initially, but once planned, you'll know exactly what you're writing about for the next few months. And then you need to figure out why you're blogging. Ultimately, all these questions can be boiled down into answering the one question: why are you starting a blog? Once you answer the question, answer this question, most of the above decisions will just kind of flow naturally, right? I recommend sitting down somewhere and just writing it all out. Just in case I haven't made this clear yet, I recommend that you use WordPress. When I first started out my blog, I built it on Wix.com, and it lasted less than 2 months. WordPress is the largest platform in the world. Absolutely has the most support available to you for building a website. So just do yourself a favor and just start on WordPress from the beginning, right? And then the first thing you need to do is buy a domain name. You need to go purchase a domain name, which is the URL where your website will exist. Like From Military to Millionaire is my domain name. Personally, I recommend that you find like 5 or 10 domain names that you think are catchy. Search the internet, determine if they're actually available for purchase, and then you can use domain.com to validate if the domains that you're interested in are still available. And consequently, you can also purchase the URL from domain.com. But I would take these 5 to 10 potential names and I would create a poll on Facebook so your friends and family can see them. And most of the time, they will pick one of the URLs will just be drastically more popular than the rest. And the URL your friends choose, it may not be the one that you initially liked, but that doesn't matter. Go with the one that all your friends liked. Go with the popular name, because the odds are that most people will like this name as well. The whole reason I'm named Military to Millionaire is not because I came up with that name. I didn't. It's a friend of mine who came up with it, and it beat all the other ones. So that being said, you can also pick an abstract name, right? Like, it's not necessarily important, like Google. I mean, that's not a name that anyone would be like, oh man, that resonates, like whatever. So just be sure you're 100% committed to it and then go with it. Next up is hosting, right? So where a website is hosted matters. Hosting companies are the link between your domain and actually being plugged into the internet. So domain.com can host your website, but I personally used Hostgator when I first started my website. Now my hosting is actually run by the web designer who built my platform, but ultimately any hosting platform you choose will be fine at the beginning. It's just as your platform grows and traffic increases, you'll most likely need to upgrade to faster hosting to ensure that your page speed stays fast, because that actually plays a big role in how Google will rank your website, right? Faster websites are deemed better and more beneficial, so Google will rank them higher. So don't get too wrapped around this at the beginning, but you need to focus on your theme, right? The theme is the outlay of your website. You spend some money to have someone design your website, but it's not 100% necessary. From the beginning, I started with a pretty rough design. And then I updated it about 3 months later with the help of someone off Fiverr for a couple $100. But around 1 year after I started the blog, I finally spent the money to have my website redesigned well. Either way, if you have the money, I would suggest having a decent design from the beginning, but totally up to you. You will need to choose a theme for your website. I recommend using Elementor, they have a lot of themes in them. It's streamlined, it's got some great looking templates, and it runs fast. So you can use Elementor on your WordPress, and that's the first thing my designer did. He's changed my theme over to Elementor, and I've become a fan, right? So definitely a fan of this. A lot of different templates in there. Play around with it. Then we're going to talk about search engine optimization, or SEO. One of the most complicated pieces of starting a website, also arguably the most important. SEO is the art of getting your website to appear on the first page of popular search engines like Google, YouTube, Bing, etc. Now, there is a running joke in the SEO world that the best place to bury a body is on page 2 of Google. Now, while funny, I can attest that just moving up one spot and becoming on the bottom search result of the first page of Google can result in a whole lot more people viewing your website than it is at the top of page 2. Now, while SEO itself is very complex, there are luckily some plugins to make it very simple. I actually just moved my entire website from Yoast SEO to Rank Math, which is a newer plugin for SEO, and I paid for the Pro and everything, and I could not be happier. All right, Rank Math is new to the market, and in order to gain market share, they've begun to provide an extreme amount of value to their users for free. Now, obviously, I actually wrote this, and my notes say they will have a paid one, but I actually have paid for Rank Math since writing that. But you don't need to pay for it to have a lot of great stuff, and it's not very expensive even if you do. So that's great. If you're starting all this, you're going to want to have a email setup. ConvertKit's a good one. I use Mailchimp because it was free until you hit like 1,500 people or whatever. I love it. I'm not going to change. Definitely a fan. So, you know, as for all of these, I'll put links down below. So if you want any of these, you can get free trials and discounts and whatever if you use my affiliate codes. So, woo, it's affiliate. But yeah, if you sign up for Mailchimp, you know, feel free. It's free for like until you have a lot of people. So yeah, if you're going to do that, utilize Opt-in Monster. So starting a blog is great, but if you really want to grow, you're going to want to capture as many emails as possible. One of the most valuable aspects of your blog is the ability to capture emails for your newsletter, right? When people opt into your email list, it allows you to send them to automated email sequences, to get to know you better. It allows you to get them connected to your Facebook group, your podcast, your YouTube channel, and other platforms. And you're able to push sales letters to your email list as well when you want to. You can retarget people who purchased from you or have yet to purchase from you. And the bottom line is if you don't spend some time to start an email list, you're absolutely missing out. There are tons of email marketing platforms out there, but I personally recommend and use Mailchimp, as I mentioned. I like it because it's free, and it's a big win when you're first starting out because you know you won't need to pay for it until you're most likely bootstrapping, right? The blogging process when you're starting, and so you can always move your email lists over to a newer provider as you decide and as you grow. And that was my initial thought process, was that I could move it over to another platform when I had to start paying for Mailchimp, but I haven't had any complaints with Mailchimp, so I'm going to just leave it here unless they royally screw me over. Now, while we're on the subject of emails, Opt-in Monster is by far the best way to build your email list. They've got all kinds of awesome email capture pop-ups, and they capture at least 4% of my website traffic every month, and if I tweak copy, that'll grow. Now, that may not seem like much, and I'm sure I could do a lot better if I did redo the copy. But when you're getting over 10,000 page views a month, that's like 400 new people added your email list passively, right? So I absolutely recommend that you utilize Opt-in Monster, and you don't even need the premium version for it to be quite effective. I don't think I started paying for it until like a month ago. There's a lot of plugins that I would recommend, but I'll probably do another video about that because I don't want to make this too long. So we're going to move right into logo design. A lot of people get super wrapped around designing a logo for their blog or business. They spend a lot of time worrying about it. And don't get me wrong, having a logo is important. It isn't the end-all be-all of your website. Don't get so tied up in your logo that you let it stop you from progressing with the blog. I like to have several logo options presented for me, and then I like to poll my friends and family to see which are their favorite, just like I mentioned that you do with the domain. The website I got my logo design through was freelancer.com, and I like them because you can set up a contest with a set amount of prize money, and you can let designers submit their designs to you for you to choose from. Especially like this option because it allows you to automatically set up a poll for like the first 5 or 10, and you can send it to friends and family to help you narrow it down. Another solid option is 99 Designs, which is a little bit more expensive, but there's some very high-end designers on this page. It also allows you to get much more specific about the style and color of your logo, and that might help you, get some better options. As you begin designing your website, you'll want to figure out what pages you want on the menu bar. So you don't want your website to appear overly chaotic. There are a few pages that you should probably have on your website, right? Like the home page, blog, the about page, contact us, and then content, right? So you're gonna want those pages. Just make sure you set those up. You can have others, whatever. I'm gonna talk about content real quick. So you have a website name, a logo, a theme, design concept, email marketing locked in. Now it's time to start producing content. Once you get the kinks ironed out in your website, content becomes king. You need to master this and become consistent about pushing content as soon as possible. And then you need to look at your overall content strategy. So that what we developed at the beginning of this article, and focus on who your target audience is and what you believe that they will be searching for on the internet. You figure out what your avatar is by searching for Google, and then write content that answers those questions, right? So you will slowly but surely begin to attract more readers, and then more readers, and then more and more and more readers, right? When you first start writing articles, focus on keywords that have about 100 to 1,000 searches per month and not huge amounts of competition. A tool like Ubersuggest will allow you to search specific words and phrases to see how much traffic they receive and how hard they are to rank for, and what articles are receiving the most views from those searches. That's what I use personally, and you can use this information to target keywords that you have a better chance of ranking for as your website grows. You're not going to rank for real estate at the beginning as a new blog, right? A lot of other people have those keywords. So then as you grow, you can become to target more competitive keywords, and Google might actually let you show up in the search results. Also, know that ranking on Google is a long process. It may take 3 or 6 months, sometimes even a year, before Google will recognize your article as worthy of showing up on the first page of search results, right? Like, it takes time to climb those ranks. So even now, when I write an article, it doesn't rank automatically. That's why it's important to produce quality content consistently. The more content you produce and the higher quality it is, the more likely you are to start attracting traffic from Google and other search engines. One option that you can do is listicles, which is, you've probably seen a lot of these. These are the articles like 11 things you need to know about, or 10 best whatevers. These articles do well on Google and people enjoy reading them. But they're not always possible to write. Sometimes the topic just can't be compressed into a bullet point listicle post, but when it can, that's a great way to show up in search results, right? An added bonus of listicle articles is that you might even show up in the rich snippets section of Google. Rich snippets are the little drop-down boxes you see where you click on it and it'll drop down and have like a small answer to your question. And those are gold. If you can get into those, that's awesome. So that's like at the top page of the top whatever for Google, which is awesome. When you're featured in the rich snippet for a topic, you'll get even more views than you would by just being on the first page a lot of times. So it's definitely valuable. Other than listicles, we've got collaborations, which collaborations and roundup posts are another great way to drive engagement. In these articles, you can write about top people in your niche in hopes that they will link back to your article, or maybe you can share it with their audience. Collaborations could also be posts where you and another blogger write together, or where you create ideas from multiple bloggers. You can even allow some people to write guest posts for your blog if you like, but just be careful not to allow them to include too many links back to their website, because you don't want Google to think you're spammy. Collaborations can be a great way to get you in front of a new audience and get some new audience members. Another way you could do this is just have like 5 or 6 people answer questions in the post or to you, and then you compile the post and then get them to share it as well. The most important thing you can do when starting a blog, though, is remain consistent. You're not going to be the best writer in the world when you start. You're not going to rank on Google immediately, and you're not going to see results immediately. Many blogs die before they have even had a chance to flourish, because the person who started them loses focus, just stops writing, right? I was a terrible writer when I started the Military Millionaire blog. And yes, I made a goal to publish one blog every single Monday without missing a beat. This consistency, and yeah, I've never actually missed, is what's led to the steady growth of my blog, my entire platform. You don't need to be great when you start blogging, but you need to start and then be consistent if you ever want to be great. All right, and the next step, we're going to dig a little bit more into SEO research and targets. I alluded to this earlier, but you want to focus on topics that people are searching for that aren't really competitive. As your blog grows, you'll be able to target more largely searched items, but don't waste your time on this right off the bat. If you think Google is going to view your brand new blog as more authoritative than Bigger Pockets on the term real estate investing, well, good luck, I suppose, and I'm glad you're confident, but you're wrong. You're dead wrong. You need to focus on much more specific searches if you want to begin attracting more people to your blog. Check this out. If you go to Google and you begin typing your main topic idea into the search bar, it will show you what other people are searching for. So like if you say real estate investing in, it'll have a bunch of different options, right? So use that information to help narrow down your topic ideas. You should also install keywords everywhere on your web browser so that when you search Google, it will show you how many people are searching for that term and kind of what like the cost per click is and stuff like that. Sometimes nobody's searching for that term, and sometimes millions of people are searching for that term every month. So you just never know until you explore. Now, there are a ton of topics that you might want to write about. So use something like Google or Uber Suggest to determine which of these topics you need to hammer out first. Begin building your content strategy around this. All right, so growth. Obviously, you want the blog to grow over time. And so here are a few strategies that have really helped me grow the Military Millionaire blog over the last 2 years, and they can work for you as well. The first and most likely biggest one is backlinks. So backlinks are one of the main driving forces behind your growth. A backlink is just when somebody links to your article from their web page or their website or their podcast or social media or whatever. Now, Google views this as credibility from another person in your sphere of influence. So the more influential that page that links back to you is, the more beneficial that link will prove to be. There are a lot of ways you can get people to link back to your website, but the best way is just to produce solid content that people want to reference in their articles or videos. Now, over time, you'll naturally accrue more links pointing back to your website, and this will help you grow faster and faster and then more and more. Another way is guest posts, right? One tried and true way to earn backlinks to your website is to write guest posts on other websites in your niche. If you're a real estate blog and you write guest posts on other real estate blogs, it will help you build authority in your space. And when you write the guest post, you can place 1 or 2 links back to your specific website and to articles on your page, and maybe 1 link back to your homepage in your bio at the bottom of the article, right? Don't spam the post with backlinks, and don't try to force affiliate links into the guest post, right? You're not trying to make money off their blog. You're just trying to add value to their audience and then generate a couple links back to your page, and they understand that, right? A lot of bloggers do this. So focus on adding as much value to the audience where you're writing the guest post. The better the article is, the more it helps the audience of the website you're guest posting for, and the more it's going to benefit you. And that's a true win-win strategy. Another way is podcasts, right? Podcasting has become a very popular medium for communicating with the world, the outside world, right? Tons of reasons why you should be a guest on a podcast. I mean, tons. But you can also gain a lot of traction by appearing on a podcast as a guest, right? You go on various shows and you show your face, and then on top of that, podcasts are also a great way to boost your credibility because you're appearing as an expert. One of the most underrated reasons, though, from a blog standpoint, is that you're going to gain backlinks to your website through these show notes, right? So if the podcast is available on Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Buzzsprout, Podbean, Stitcher, and their page, and wherever, you're going to get links from those locations as long as they put your link in their show notes, which any good podcast will, because they understand that's why you're going on the show, is to help them out, but also to get some credibility. And then networking. I had to squeeze networking into this video somehow. You should absolutely be networking with people in your niche all the time. The bigger your network is, the more effectively you'll be able to grow your platform. Networking with other bloggers, YouTubers, and influencers in your niche will open up all sorts of opportunities for you. Make a conscious effort to reach out to other bloggers in your space and get to know them. I promise you, and I say this all the time, right? But networking will be one of the most important things that you can do when growing a blog. All right, the moment you've all been waiting for. We are going to talk about whether or not you can really make money blogging. The short answer is yes. Yes, you can, right? Woohoo, yay, you can all go home now. But there are more ways to monetize your blog than you can even imagine. Some of these strategies will require almost no work at all, and some are completely passive, while others require continual improvement and involvement and a lot of active work, right? And likewise, some of these strategies will make you very little money, and some of them will have potential to make you millions of dollars. Now, this list is by no means all-inclusive. You are only limited by your own creativity, and the sky is the limit with online platforms, and I encourage you to think big. The first monetization strategy a lot of people use is placing advertisements on their website. You know how sometimes you'll be reading through an article and you'll notice that the pair of running shoes you were just looking at on Amazon the other day are showing up all over the place on the article? Yeah, those are the kinds of advertisements we're talking about. There are a few different platforms you can use to set this up, but the simplest and most common is Google AdSense. Now, I don't personally use advertisements to monetize my website at this time. I'm not really a fan of how cluttered they look on websites, and I would prefer to keep my website looking clean and just put, my own affiliates or advertisements on stuff if I think it fits that article. On top of that, though, advertisements require a substantial amount of traffic in order to bring in decent revenue. On average, a website will bring in like $1,000 like $1 to $1.50 per 1,000 impressions on your website. Impression just means that somebody who saw the advertisement. So to put that in perspective, if you have 10,000 impressions on your website in a month, it's like $10 to $15. Now you can have, 4 different ads on one blog post, and if they scroll through, that one page view might be 4 impressions, but still, we're talking, even right now, I'd probably make like $100 to $300 a month. So advertisements can bring in some revenue for your website, but you need to consider how cluttered you want the website to look and what your main goal is, right? How much traffic you need to generate for it to be profitable, etc. All right, now we're going to talk about affiliates. Affiliate marketing takes a lot more work and can also be more lucrative. In case you haven't heard of affiliate marketing before, it's when you recommend a company, a course, a product, a service that you like, and if somebody uses your link or your referral code to purchase what you recommended, you'll receive a payout. Now, there are different types of affiliate programs, and you can weave them into your content in a ton of different ways. I mean, shoot, like when I mentioned, hey, there's links down below for Mailchimp, that's an affiliate. If you click through and buy it, I get a couple bucks, and I think Mailchimp's actually recurring, so I'd get a couple bucks for as long as you're a member, but not until you get past the free part and you actually start like paying for it, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, let's give you a better example. Let's say that you're an affiliate for my real estate investing course. You could write a blog post about real estate investing and recommend my course as a resource for people to learn the basics of investing. Now, assuming that I gave you a 30% affiliate commission, you would earn 30% of the course sales from people who bought my course through your link. And that's a win-win because you make 30 bucks off a course that you didn't have to create, and I say 30 bucks, 30%, and I make the other percentage, 70%, math in public, off a course that I did make, but I'm not the one marketing for it in that case. Now, there are affiliate programs that pay a commission and programs that pay you per lead. Now, there are even affiliate programs that pay you a recurring commission, like I mentioned Mailchimp, or PropStream's another good one. So if you purchase PropStream, which is my preferred way to find real estate leads and do comps and stuff, and you use it to help find and analyze deals through my code, then I will actually receive a 30% recurring commission for as long as you maintain your membership. So a word of caution though, if you're gonna dig into affiliates, I would suggest that you don't make it a habit to recommend products or services unless you actually use them, right? So the more your audience trusts you, the better your affiliate sales will reflect. Also, never sell your soul for money. Don't become an affiliate spammer. Just don't. Nobody likes it. The best affiliate marketing campaign I've ever run was for probably one of my favorite websites out there because I believe in them. Don't sell stuff you don't believe in. CJ Affiliate, there's like places you can find affiliate links, that's one. Coaching and consulting is another way. It's probably the least passive way for you to earn income blogging. And it can also be one of the most lucrative. So depending on your niche, it's quite possible for you to charge large sums of money for coaching and consulting services, and you won't generally be able to put these tasks on autopilot, but you could conduct group coaching services, but there's still a requirement for time, right? Now, if you build a course, then it would not have a time requirement after it's built, unless you do like ads and stuff, but it took time to build it. Now, there's nothing wrong with coaching or consulting, but I don't do much of it just because of the sheer amount of time required. I test piloted a 6-week coaching course last year, and I just quickly realized that there was no way I could do it consistently while on active duty. So perhaps I'll continue doing it after I get off active duty, but who knows? Now, some people try their hand at coaching and they just fall in love with it. Others very quickly realize that they don't enjoy it and, whatever. So you can absolutely make a large amount of money coaching people, but you need to be aware of the time requirement and effort required for this monetization strategy. All right, now I briefly touched on this, but online courses. Now, online courses have become exceedingly popular over the last couple of years. Might even be able to argue that they've become so popular that it's becoming oversaturated. But I still believe there's a market for online courses. Now, please don't be the knucklehead selling courses on things that they barely understand themselves, right? Don't be that person. Creating an online course requires a lot of time. You've got to outline the course, record the content, decide on whether you want to include tests or additional resources. Maybe you want to run advertisements, maybe you want to do a launch. Like, there's all kinds of stuff that goes into this. That being said, once the course is completed and published online, there's a good chance that you can make it completely passive. Now, you can automate the sales funnel. Checkout, course, everything else, depending on how you set it up. You could also do memberships. This is another thing. Another monetization strategy is to create a membership site. So ultimately what BiggerPockets has done with their platform, they created an extremely helpful platform, and then they created a membership options for those who wanted even more value out of the platform with discounts and all kinds of stuff. Now, building a membership site can be quite lucrative, but you need to ensure that what you offer in the membership is valuable enough that people will continue to pay for it month over month over month. Now, real estate investors. If you're a real estate investor, there are several ways that you can indirectly monetize your platform as well. Right? So for example, as your community grows, you're going to gain more and more credibility. This credibility might lead people to bring you deals to buy. They might offer to allow you to partner on deals. Might ask for you to be a partner with them in order to tackle a deal. It could also open doors for raising additional capital for your deals or finding private lenders, all kinds of opportunities. So there are a ton of indirect ways that you can monetize a blog. Now, this is harder to track, but it can be just as lucrative, if not more. Ultimately, many industries will have opportunities. There are also a ton of direct and indirect ways to monetize your blogging platform. Here's a few. We're going to wrap up. We're going to talk through the keys to success as a blogger. No matter what you decide to write about or how you plan to monetize your blog, if at all, there are a few keys to success that I want to reiterate. First being consistency. Each year, tons of people decide to start a blog, podcast, YouTube channel, business, hobby, whatever. And each year, tons of these people quit, right? And I believe the main thing that separates those who succeed from those who fail is consistency. You won't gain traction immediately. You may not even gain traction in the first year or two. Heck, I was paying to work 10 to 30 hours per week on my platform for the first year and a half. And then I barely broke even. And then it took off. Yeah, I wouldn't say it took off, but you know what I mean. I make money now. That being said, if you can remain consistent and continue to produce quality content at regular intervals, I'm confident that you will achieve success. And networking. At the risk of sounding like I'm beating a dead horse, networking is important. That's all. I talk about it all the time. And then collaboration. You need to network with people in your space. And the more opportunities you will have to collaborate with other creators, collaborating with other creators will develop quality content. To develop quality content is a win-win for opportunity for both of you. You can create some pretty cool content and reach a lot more people when you collaborate in this way. I'm actually doing another collaboration with a YouTuber as we speak, and maybe you'll see that eventually, maybe not, I don't know. Value. Add as much value as humanly possible to your audience. The more value you add to your readers, the more they're going to share your content, the more they're going to link to it, the more you're going to help people, and the more you help people, the more they'll reciprocate naturally, right? Figure out what your audience wants to learn about, and then spend time providing the best content possible around those topics. Double down when something works. If you're lucky enough to have a piece of content go viral early, you should double down on that topic, and just once you figure out why your content went viral, you should just try to create content in that same vein. So you want to put a bunch of content out there, right? Theoretically, you'll be able to ride this wave and grow your channel quickly. So let's say you go viral for like 7 frugal things. Then you could be like, hey, frugal hacks, frugal tips, best frugal tip. Like there could be, I don't know, all kinds of stuff. You don't need to completely change your strategy, but just include a little bit more of that topic that worked for you, that went viral, and you'll do well. And consistency. Yes, consistency is so important that I decided to mention it twice because I want to consistently mention that consistency is important, blah, blah. This has been the Military Millionaire Guide to Blogging. Ultimately, you don't need to start a blog in order to be successful in life or business. However, I think blogging is a viable strategy to expand your outreach and build a community. If I had never started the Military Millionaire blog, you wouldn't be watching this video right now, and my platform probably wouldn't even exist, and definitely wouldn't exist on this level. Hopefully this guide to blogging was helpful to you. If you have any questions, throw them in the comments below and I'll be happy to point you in the right direction. Also, I'll throw those links to like Mailchimp and some of the other stuff, whatever that I mentioned. If you want to use it, great. If you don't want to use it, screw you. No, I'm just kidding. If you use any of those things, I think most of them give a discount or a free trial, so it's beneficial to you to test it out as well. It is what it is. I hope you have a great day. I hope you got something out of this. Subscribe to the channel, smash that like button. Let me know if you made it all the way through this, right? If you made it all the way through this, tell me your favorite animal down below. Because this is one of the longer videos I've ever done, and probably the longest I've ever done on the teleprompter in one video. I'd just be curious to see how many of you made it through, and if I should do more videos like this. Have a great day.